Today we have a very interesting story coming out of New Jersey from Marijuana Moment. New Jersey regulators seek input on expanding marijuana edibles to include infused drinks, baked goods, and more. If you know anything about the cannabis manufacture program in New Jersey, you know that there's a lot of restrictions, namely the types of products that they listed in the title. So this is good news. Hopefully, there's some good comment around this, and they accept and move forward. Here's the story. New Jersey marijuana regulators are accepting public comments on proposed rules to expand the types of the edible cannabis products that could be sold at licensed shops, including beverages, chocolate baked goods, and jams. As it stands, the state's legalization law restricts cannabis edibles to non-perishable products such as lozenges, pills, and gummies, a limited variety compared to other adult use states. Now, months after regulators already waived certain requirements to authorize the sale of additional marijuana edible types, the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission, NJCRC, has opened a 60-day public comment period on proposed rules to codify and expand an expanded list of infused products that medical and recreational shops could offer. We believe that the cannabis edibles have the potential to provide an alternative and convenient method for adults to access cannabis. The proposed regulations aim to establish clear guidelines for their responsible production, labeling, and sale, NJCRC Executive Director Jeff Brown said in a press release last week. Under the proposal, the current rules would be amended to allow for the sale of infused single-serving beverages containing up to 5 milligrams of active THC, as well as shelf-stable food, including chocolates, gummies, baked goods, butters, jams, and jellies. Workers who manufacture the edibles would need to undergo additional food safety training on the causes and prevention of foodborne illnesses, like ServSafe, or just understanding getting a HACCP certification out there. So that's really good. NJCRC has also proposed allowing ingestible products in the shape of a cannabis leaf to be sold, which is very big compared to other rules in other states. They still could not resemble realistic or fictional human, animal, or fruit, or part thereof, including artistic caricature or cartoon renderings, but a cannabis leaf they will allow. Maybe. The rules are part of a set of policies adopted by the NJCRC in September aimed at expanding product offerings in the New Jersey cannabis market. Regulators said key components of the proposed edible rule will enhance variety, safety, and quality of edible products. The public stakeholders and experts are being encouraged to submit feedback on the regulations by the December 15th deadline. The notice about public comment period and cannabis edible offerings expansion comes as regulators separately announce a new campaign to promote public health and safety around the state's legalization law, an effort that in part will involve encouraging adults to use cannabis delivery services to mitigate the risk of impaired driving. Applications for delivery service licenses, as well as other license types like wholesales, opened up last month. Regulators are starting by prioritizing people who have been disproportionately impacted by cannabis prohibition enforcement. Meanwhile, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, NJEDA, announced earlier this month that it will be awarding $12 million in grant money to 48 licensed cannabis operators to help them start and expand their businesses. It's part of the state's effort to remove barriers to entry to the legal industry, especially among people from communities disproportionately harmed by the drug war. Governor Phil Murphy, Democrat, and Attorney General Matthew J. Platkin separately announced that the state is making $5.5 million available, funded by marijuana tax revenue, to support a hospital-based violence intervention grants program. As of last month, state regulators began accepting public comments on a proposal that would create a new permit to allow clinically focused dispensaries to enter into a partnership with research institutions to carry out cannabis studies using products that they grow or sell to patients. Separately, there have been some questions about the current supply of cannabis in the state as consumers face high prices, which have been criticized by regulators. It's possible that the forthcoming delivery service, wholesaler, and distributor license expansion could help address the issue. As the state works to build on its legalization law, Jersey City has been pushing back against a policy permitting police officers to use cannabis off duty, filing a lawsuit against a rule that the New Jersey Fraternal Order Police called an unfortunate waste of taxpayers' dollars in a statement last week. And that's the story for Marijuana Moment. What do y'all think about this expansion in Jersey?
I think it's a no-brainer,
Right.
especially if you want to compete against the trap market. I mean, you're creating a separate lane. If you don't have these products readily available and tested and clean in dispensaries in a quote unquote legal market, people are going to do this on their own. They're going to do it at home. You're creating an entire separate secondary market for people to create their own shit that may or may not be safe and sell it on their own. So I think it's a no-brainer.
Right.
I mean, what they're
Yeah.
going to allow them to use a cannabis leaf as a mold? I think that's really
Listen, it's
that's
better
very
than looking
forward
like a
thinking.
Skittles or a Starburst. Yeah, like that's how you say these are mommy's gummies.
Hmm.
Those are your gummies.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
it's
more
a
states
step
should
in the
adopt
right
this
direction
policy for
because
sure.
I mean,
Absolutely.
every week we read about kids who've gotten into edibles, and every week, as we're excited about the expansion of the regulated market and new users, we're reminded that this particular form factor has the greatest chance of getting in the wrong hands.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm
And I
just,
don't
I'm just glad.
like I said in the story before, man. I don't see any FDA push to educate people about fentanyl lollipops
Well,
or suppressed
there's
fentanyl
clearly
lollipops for those
Well,
are out there.
I think what happened with the money for that public education campaign is the same thing that happened with that $10 million that California was supposed to allocate for cannabis education.
It's in the
yeah.
Exactly.
background.
Well, I also think that they don't do any education based on the fact that they want it to be happening. The state governments want to pacify as many drug users as possible, and the more die, then it's honestly less of a burden on the state, and that's why they don't do anything. I think that's the real dark truth. But unfortunately, we spend a lot of money, a lot of our tax dollars. You're in my tax dollars, Jason and Rico and everyone on the show
Right.
to really do a lot of outrageous things, and they need to really just fix our own shit and with our own money. That would be really helpful for everyone in this country, I think, namely in the state of California. But that's another ball of wax.
Yes, it
Hmm.
is.
That it is. And on that note, we're going to keep this train moving.